Hey everyone, Dave Menz, Laundromat Millionaire here. I am doing an impromptu live on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube. And I'm doing this because it is the week of the clean show. And I just wanted to jump in here and see if I could bring you all some value, see if I could help you all. If you're not planning on going to the clean show, which is coming up here shortly, then why not? Comment down in the comments section. Let me know why you're not attending. Is it a money thing? Did you not know about it? I'm happy to get you information about the clean show and to let you know what it's all about. But more important than anything else, I'm here to kind of answer your questions. This will be my sixth clean show, I believe, that I've been to, and I've learned that there's kind of an art to attending the clean show. And so I wanted to just kind of jump in here a few days before the clean show and answer any questions that you all have. If you have any questions, feel free to comment in the comments section, and I'll try to answer those for you. But just wanted to jump in here and see if I could help you all. If you're just joining us, feel free to drop any questions that you have about the clean show coming up this week in Atlanta in the comments section. I just want to see if I can answer any questions. If you're still considering going, I highly recommend it. I don't work for the clean show. I don't get anything for it. Me and Carla will be there for all 4 days. Actually, we'll be there the day before the clean show even, because we will be jumping into the laundry cares at the Oz Laundry location in Atlanta. Yeah, one of the LinkedIn users asked, pardon my ignorance, what is the clean show? The clean show is our industry's trade show. Great question, actually. Sorry, sometimes I take things for granted. But yeah, the clean show is our industry's trade show in the laundromat industry. But our industry isn't huge. So we actually combine and have a clean show or a trade show that's combined with the dry cleaning industry, which is a completely different industry. And basically what happens is, I think it was 50 years ago or so now, the two industries came together and said, hey, neither one of us are really big enough to have a trade show by themselves. But what if we combined together and called it the clean show, since we're both in the cleaning industry? So you'll see a lot of vendors and booths that are more to do with the textile industry, which is the dry cleaning industry. You'll see large, huge, bigger than you can imagine, tunnel washers and dryers and folding machines that automatically fold towels and things like that. Those don't really apply to us in the laundromat industry, but they do apply to the dry cleaning industry. The flip side of that is everyone who is really anyone when it comes to vendors, manufacturers, the CLA will be at the show. And a lot of the top operators in the laundromat industry don't miss the clean show. They're there for many different ways, or many different reasons, I should say. That's something that's the reason I'm passionate about it isn't because I work for the clean show or anything like that. It's just because I've gotten a ton of value out of it. There is a cost associated with, flying if you have to fly or driving if you have to drive, things like that. Yeah. Thanks, Ross. Ross Dodd says, don't think about it. Don't walk, run, drive, fly. Must come find me and I'll buy you a drink or a water. So there you go. Ross, be careful. I don't know how many people's going to see this, but I guess if nothing else, you'll get some rewards out of that from your American Express, right? But anyway, seriously, Ross, I can't wait to see you. Yeah, Ty says, I knew about the clean show. I couldn't come this year. It was a mix between money and not being able to take time off work. Ty, I totally get it, man. I completely get it. There was a time where I was in a very similar circumstance to you, and I'm not here to guilt anyone or anything like that. You got to do you, man. You do what's best for you. You know what that is. The one thing I will tell you, Ty, and anyone else listening, is that there was a time where I felt exactly like that. It was tough to take time off work. I didn't have the money, and what money I did have, I felt like I should be investing in my businesses because they weren't in the shape that I wanted them to be in. And I can tell you, just for me, not to guilt you or anything, I still decided to go. I still made it a priority and I went. And it was absolutely one of the best things I could have ever done for my business. Sometimes it's hard to quantify the value of education, but there's a lot of educational sessions that happen before the clean show, before the trade floor opens, if you will. and they're free. Well, I mean, they're not free, but you know what I mean. They're part of your ticket to the clean show. And they are, I cannot tell you the value I've got out of those sessions. In the six, I guess this will be the sixth clean show that I'll be at. I cannot tell you the value of that. So I strongly recommend you go if you can. Once again, there was a time where I couldn't afford it, and I couldn't really take time off work, and I just made it a priority, and I wasn't sure if it was a smart move or not. Looking back on it now, I can tell you this is part of one of the things that made me successful. That being said, Ty, just because you don't go doesn't mean you won't be successful. Nobody's going to tell you that. We all know that you're as active as they come, and you're grinding, you're pushing to do things right in your market, and I'm proud of you, bud. And you're going to be successful whether you go to this clean show or not. That being said, it's an opportunity of a lifetime, as Ross mentioned. I will tell you guys too that when it comes to the clean show, it's the biggest event our industry has, and it's typically biennial every other year, but we haven't had it for 3 years because of the COVID situation. And the truth is, they're getting us back on track for the odd years, so we won't be having it again for 3 years. So the next clean show, this isn't done every year; it's usually done every 2 years. But in this case, the next clean show isn't going to be until Orlando, Florida in 2025. So what I tell people is this is the only clean show we've had in 3 years, and it's the only one we will have for another 3 years. So this is literally the only clean show that's happening in a 6-year window. And that's kind of crazy. So anyway, my point is whatever you can do, if you can, I would not take this lightly. I would do everything that you can to attend. Obviously, Ross is very successful too. A lot of y'all know him, and he's speaking some truth down there in the comments section too. Ross says it's the cheapest money you will spend to put yourself in a room of people way smarter than yourself. Okay, myself for sure. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't possibly agree more with Ross that's the case, and couldn't recommend it anymore. Hey, our buddy Chris Ward just jumped in. Um, yeah, Chris, I can't wait to see you. I hope you're going to be at the clean show. I'm sure you are. Comment down in the comments section. If you guys don't know Chris over at Ward Energy Solutions, Chris does a lot of. I'm going to probably get to butcher this and make Chris's ears cringe, but Chris is I guess an alternative energy supplier is what I would call him. Chris, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. But Chris helps us get discounts on our natural gas at all of our laundromats, and his team over there saves us quite a bit of money. We don't pay anything for their services. We just pay either an alternative energy supplier. But if you know much about the laundromat industry and you talk to many people in your network, you're going to figure out real quick that Chris is a rock star. Great human being, great guy. And so you should, Chris, let us know. But I assume Chris is going to be at the clean show, and don't know if they're going to have a booth or if he'll be wandering around. But either way, you need to go talk to Chris. We're having some more people join in the chat. If you guys have specific questions about the clean show, by all means, comment down in the comment section. I'm just going to be on here for, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes, something like that. Yeah, no problem, Ty. Yeah, but I just want to throw a few tips out, and you guys ask me questions if you have them specifically. A few things that I've learned by attending the clean show for so long, or so many times, I should say, is one of the things I want to nix is the fact that the fourth day of the show, or even the third day of the show, is a waste of time and invaluable. I understand why people say that. I mean, I kind of like sort of nod my head when I hear people say that. But I want to come at it from a different angle, and I stumbled upon this by accident. And what that is the first couple clean shows I went to, I didn't know any better. Nobody told me not to attend the third and fourth days. And what you'll hear a lot of people give advice on is, just go the first 2 days. That's all you need. You can see all the vendors, talk to everybody, and be out of there by the third day and save time. The first 2 days are definitely busier than the third day and the fourth day, no doubt. The third day is definitely busier as far as foot traffic and things like that in the booth than the fourth day. So there is a progressive process that happens there for sure. But what I learned by accident, by attending all 4 days, not knowing any different, was that the third and fourth day, in my opinion, are a couple of the most valuable days there. And let me tell you what I've learned and what I do nowadays, even for myself, just as a fellow laundromat owner. What I do when I attend the clean show is the first 2 days, I go around and I try to visit as many booths as I can, as quickly as I can. I have quick, high level conversations, shake hands, take pictures, exchange business cards, check out what's new in people's booths. And while I'm doing that, I'm making mental notes and even kind of notes in my notes tablet in my phone. And what I do is what I do is on the third and fourth days, I circle back. And the reason I do that is the first 2 days, these booths are so crazy busy that they don't really have a lot of time to spend with you. There might be 5 people working in a small booth, for example, and they might have at different times 30 people in their booth. Well, they can't help you. A lot of times you go in and out of the booth and no one even acknowledges you just because they don't have enough manpower. And so what I've always done is I've always find that it's very valuable to go back on the third and fourth days. And the cool thing about that is because the foot traffic is so much lower on the third and fourth days, the people in the booth, they have all kinds of time. And they're there. They've made the investment. They've spent the money in their booth and getting all their supplies there, and they want to talk shop. They want to see if their products and services can help you be successful or more successful with your business. And so that's what they're there to do. The other thing is my understanding, and I've never had a booth, but I've been told by people that have booths is the vendors are required to be there all 4 days. They can't just pack up and leave on day 3 and 4, even though foot traffic dies down. So once again, they're a lot of times, especially on day 4, a lot of the vendors and stuff are just kind of twiddling their thumbs, literally. And you can walk up and have very deep conversations. You can make great connections. If you really want to drill down into a particular product or service or software, or meet somebody like Chris and talk about what they do to help you save money on energy and things like that, you would not believe the time that people will give you on day 3 and 4 of the clean show that they won't give you on day 1 or 2. Can't give you. It's not they won't, they can't. And so that's one of the things that I like to kind of get out there in the industry is, like, I understand why people say that, but it's really kind of a misnomer in the sense that, yes, it's true, but it's also untrue. It's just a matter of how are you using that time. And I stumbled upon this accidentally. I've also made some of the best friendships that I have in the industry to this day by being at the clean show on day 3 and 4. And maybe not necessarily even the vendors, but a lot of times there's fellow laundromat owners that either know or don't know, like I stumbled upon it, and they spend extra time at the clean show on day 3 and 4, and they're kind of bored and they're like kind of caught off guard. I remember my first clean show I went to, I was like, geez, where did everybody go? This is kind of crazy. And I was just walking around talking to different vendors, and I'd go over and get a chicken sandwich or something and sit down at a table next to a guy or woman I didn't even know. Next thing you know, we'd strike up a 45-minute conversation, and they were a laundromat owner from the other part of the country. And some of these people are still my friends to this day. Also, the educational sessions, I want to point these out because the CLA does an amazing job of putting on these educational sessions before the clean show. So if you don't know, the way the clean show is structured is the trade show floor is open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. All 4 days that the show's open, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the most of the educational sessions, excuse me, that the clean show, or I'm sorry, that the CLA puts on are before the trade floor opens. So they're typically from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So if you want a list of those things, go over to the CLA's website, and they have a list of all the different sessions. There's panel discussions with different laundromat owners on different topics. Sometimes there's keynote speakers that will come in town and speak on different topics that are outside the industry. And so one of the things I really encourage people to do is, I know, like, it's a mini vacation, you're out of town, you want to stay up, stay out late with your buddies, drinking and stuff. And what I encourage people to do is either do that in moderation, which I know some people don't like to hear that, or do it at a level where you can still get up in the morning and you're not going to feel terrible and you're not going to miss these educational sessions. Because going to bed a little bit early, which is a little boring, I know, I'm a boring guy, but going to bed a little early, getting up a little early, and attending these educational sessions is some of the most valuable time that I've spent in this industry. I've also done amazing things with networking and making connections and friendships at the Clean Show by attending these educational sessions. And they're typically set up in like a larger format. So there might be like I don't know, anywhere from 150 to 500 people in this room, depending on what the subject is. And what a lot of people do is there's these tables that are kind of lined up like a conference room, and you end up sitting at a table, and you got your notepad and stuff next to them. And what ends up happening is, or let me back up. What I encourage you to do, and what I've also done by mistake, is it's very natural, especially if you're introverted, to go into there and look for a blank spot. Look for a spot where there's maybe nobody at, nobody sitting within 3 or 4 chairs, and you kind of plop down and just listen to the educational session. I encourage you not to do that, even though that may be your instinct. And the reason is, more than one time, I have jumped into these educational sessions, and I've either gotten there early or gotten there on time, sat down right next to someone. I'm always very intentional about sitting down next to someone. Maybe I know them, maybe I don't. And jump in there and have a conversation with them. If it's 10 minutes early before the session starts, you'd be surprised how much you can connect with, meet, exchange numbers or emails, business cards, things like that with someone prior to the Clean Show. The other thing is, the flip side of it is, after the session's over, they kind of kick you out of there. You go out into the lobby area, and then they want you to kind of head down the hallway into the trade show floor. What I encourage people to do is use that time to network as well. If you happen to be sitting next to Joe Smith, and he owns 2 laundromats in Atlanta, for example, strike up a conversation while you're sitting next to him. Or as soon as the session is over, be like, "Hey, I'm Dave. I own a few laundromats in Cincinnati, Ohio. Nice to meet you. Are you going to be here for a few days? Have you caught any other sessions?" Like, just having conversation. It doesn't matter if you have a book or a podcast or whatever. You're just a laundromat owner. And it's amazing, if you use your time at the Clean Show intentionally, the connections that you can make with people versus just, I see a lot of people show up, they fly in late before the first night, they stay out late that night at the hotel bar or something. And then they go to the conference, they get there a little bit late, they skip the educational sessions, and by day 2, they're on a plane and they're out of there. And then these are the same people that jump on the Facebook groups and stuff, and they say things like, it's not worth it. Don't waste your time. Just a bunch of people selling widgets, just a bunch of vendors and booths, people trying to pressure you into selling things. Like, the Clean Show is set up in a way that you can get what I've always gotten out of it if you understand and are intentional and kind of use it as a networking opportunity and an educational opportunity. Or it could be a complete and utter waste of your time and money if you use it in different ways. So once again, we're all grown adults here. Those are just kind of Dave's tips and tricks that I've learned over the last 5 Clean Shows. Another thing I'll throw out there real quickly, and feel free to, if you guys have any specific comments about the or questions about the Clean Show, type them down in the notes there. I'll probably only be on here for another 10 minutes or so. Yeah, what did Ty say? He said, knowing what you know now, where would you find the most value at the show? What would be your focus? I think it's a little bit different for everybody, Ty. So I'm gonna use my tagline. It depends. But I think for most laundromat owners, it's going to be the educational sessions. I mean, I can't speak highly enough of the CLA and the organization that they do to get different topics that are relevant and important to us laundromat owners. And they're free. And by free, I mean they're included with your ticket, so you don't pay extra for them. I think that is one of the most valuable things I think it's the most valuable thing at the Clean Show. Because once again, if you approach those educational sessions the right way, you are going to get the educational aspect, but you're also going to get a networking opportunity if you use it in the right way. I remember the first time I met Brian Wallace. I knew who he was, but I was kind of intimidated by him because he was kind of like a leader in the industry and kind of a big deal. I think this is probably like back at maybe the 2013 Clean Show or something like that. And he was just walking by me before an educational session, and I was sitting there, and he was just like, "Hey, I'm Brian. Nice to meet you." And he didn't say, "I'm Brian Wallace, president of the CLA." And he wasn't all official or anything. He was just like, "Hey, I'm Brian. Nice to meet you." And I knew who he was. I was just a guy that owned a couple dumpy laundromats at that point. But that's what I mean by that. Brian approached me. and he struck up a conversation with me. And what that did is, without him, maybe he did know, I don't know, but without him realizing what he was doing, is he made himself much more approachable to me. And later on in the clean show, I approached Brian again and said, "Hey, appreciate you coming over and introducing yourself. I'm Dave. I'm Laundromat Cincinnati, yada, yada, yada." Next thing you know, I consider Brian Wallace a very good friend at this point. And I'm very grateful for what the CLA does. So that's just one example. I think it also depends on what you're there for. I mean, there's people that are just getting into the industry. Um, yeah, Ty says Brian is a cool dude. Definitely, he is. He's a great guy. He's very genuine and sincere if you give him the opportunity. Chris Ward says, "I'll be there, brother. Can't wait to see you." Yes, same for me, man. You guys need to go talk to Chris. He is an awesome guy. Hey, Max, thanks for jumping in, man. Appreciate it. Yes, I would love to chat at the Clean Show. So if I don't find you, find me if you would. So I'll leave that there. But thanks for jumping in, Max. What we're doing is just last few minutes here. We're just answering questions with different people about the Clean Show and what they're looking forward to. And if you're new to the industry or something like that, another thing I started to say is, if you're new to the industry, it's really, really valuable to just take it all in. And I know that sounds like kind of fluffy, but what I mean by that is just go around to the different booths and don't approach them from a, these people are trying to sell to me. Yes, they are trying to sell to you. That's not a secret. But that doesn't mean you have to let them. But take it all in what's the word I'm looking for? Embrace the industry, because not everybody that has a product to sell to you is a bad guy or girl. Not everybody that has a product to sell to you is trying to rip you off. Now, I am aware some people are for sure. I'm aware that these things happen. There's some bad people out there. Hey, Wally, thanks for jumping in, man. Yeah, but I think it's important that we approach the clean show with kind of a clean slate, open mind, if you will. Because if you approach it from kind of like a jaded perspective of, maybe you've been before and had a bad experience, well, I've given you some tips and tricks on how to maybe have a better experience, make it more useful, more efficient of your time. But for me personally, it's about education. It's about information going around the industry. I tell people all the time, in this industry, even if you woke up today and you knew everything there was to know about the laundromat industry, go to bed tonight, wake up in the morning, and something changed. Some vendor, some software company, some POS, some service provider, some revenue share person or company, some franchise is evolving. They're changing. Some lender, they're changing, and they're doing things differently than they used to do them. And one of the big reasons I go is because I want to know what's new. I want to know what's different. And there's really not a more open format where vendors and what I call service providers in the industry, there's really not a better format for them to get out there and share. I'll give you a quick tip or a quick story. In 2019, the 2019 Clash Clean Show, our last one, Speed Queen rolled out their new Speed Queen touch screen. And holy moly, was everyone talking about this thing at the Clean Show. Very few people knew it was coming. I certainly didn't know it was coming. I went over and checked it out. I thought it was really cool, but the more I sat there and the more I watched other people kind of demo this touch screen, the more I realized that the touch screen controls were incredibly innovative, because they're very user friendly, and they're not just the push buttons. They are the what's the word I'm looking for? It's a sales tool, I guess, is the best way I would say it. Whether it's trying to upsell something or offering a different language or what it is. And I know now all the manufacturers, for the most part, I think there's a few that maybe are behind the curve, but most of them are rolling out their touch screens or already have rolled out their touch screens. And what I tell people is, it's not about the touch screen, it's what the touch screen does. It's a very interactive thing. So, as an example, if I weren't at the show, I would have still heard about this because people were talking about it for months after the Clean Show in 2019, but I wouldn't been able to see. I like to stand back and observe. I'm curious. So I like to stand back and observe and watch what other people do and how they interacted. So it was, mostly laundromat owners, I would assume, that were just herded around this touch screen from Speed Queen. It's right there in the middle of the booth and everything. Everybody's raving about this thing, and everybody wants to come up and touch it and try it out. And they're like, oh, look, it does this. Oh, look, it does that. And I just stood back and watched. I literally stood there for an hour and just watched people poke around at this thing. And long story short, I now have Hip Touch equipment in my new store that I just opened a couple months ago. And it is absolutely amazing. It's not just a gimmick. It's an absolute market differentiator. So that's an example of something that if I weren't at the show, I wouldn't have. I mean, I would have heard about it later, but I wouldn't have got a full grasp on what it was and how it could serve my customers better. So it's not just always about widgets, it's about sometimes observations. And seeing things in person makes a big difference too. So seeing people demo it and things like that was cool. Yeah, I got a few more minutes here, guys. I'm going to jump off in 4 or 5 minutes. If you have any questions for me about the Clean Show, drop them in the comments section. I'm here to help as best I can. Hey, big brother in life, he says, or he or she, I'm not sure. I assume it's a he if it's brother. Greetings, everyone. So I'm not sure who that is, but thanks for joining us for the live. Yeah, Max says, what are you looking forward to this Clean Show since you've been to many? Max, I've never been more excited for a Clean Show, and I've never been more apprehensive for a Clean Show. And the reason is, even in 19, while I was well known and respected as a laundromat owner, I really wasn't, nobody knew who I was other than I was just another laundromat owner. And now, with what me and Carla were doing with Laundromat Millionaire and everything, um, there's a lot of people who know who we are, and they don't like our success, and so I call them haters. And then there's a lot of people out there that know who we are, misunderstand what we do, and so they misunderstand who we are and what we represent. And then there's obviously a lot of people out there that are just amazing human beings who value and appreciate what me and Carla do and are trying to do a lot of the same things. I always tell people when I say like the term elevate the industry, I'm not suggesting me and Carla are doing this. I'm saying we as an industry are doing this, and there's a whole bunch of other people doing this with us. And it's a community event is what it is. So the truth is, Max, if I'm 100% transparent, I'm really looking forward to the fact that so many people want to meet me and get to know me and talk to me and chat with me. The thing that's a little nerve wracking for me is I have a schedule. I've never had a schedule. I mean, I have 5 or 6 different things on my schedule that I have to be at this booth at this time. We're going to do a couple live events. One of them is at the Laundrolux booth on the first day at 10:30 in the morning on Saturday. The second day, we're going to be at the Prime Capital booth, and my friend Chris Mihalik bought a bunch of our books as a sponsor, and he's giving those away for free. And so we're going to go live at Chris's booth, and so we're going to have a really bunch of really cool opportunities to interact with people. And we don't worry too much about the negative people or anything like that. But really, honestly, Max, what I'm looking forward to the most is meeting everyone, because so many people like see me as something other than a laundromat owner now. And I just see that as opportunity to connect with people, help people, and meet people. I know that's unique for me, so it's not going to apply to a lot of people. But that's something I'm looking forward to. But I'm also a little nervous. And the reason I'm nervous is like Carla and I, we don't like to let people down. We like to help people. Um, and we're a little bit nervous that we only have 4 days and we have all these other commitments that we have to make sure we hit on at different booths and different things like that. I'm going to be speaking at the Santa Wash booth on our experience with Aqua Wing Santa Wash Ozone and how that kind of changed our business. So that's something that I have to not only prepare for, but I have to put it on the schedule and I have to be there. So there could be situations where I'm in the middle of conversations and I got to be like, hey, I got to go. I got to be at the other side of the show in a few minutes. But at the end of the day, Max, the quick answer is what I'm most looking forward to is just meeting and connecting with my fellow laundromat owners. That's something that I get more out of than anything else. And I'm excited that I have an opportunity to do that at a level this year that I've probably never had. It's an opportunity. So I'm excited about that. And that includes you, Max. So let's chat for sure. Yeah, a few minutes left here. JD says, what do you recommend to a new owner who's very cash strapped? There is a lot of great products and services that we will see at the show, but I can't afford hardly anything else at this point. um, yeah, great question. JD, I'm not sure when you jumped in, but you might want to go back to the beginning and watch a little bit of this because I gave a few tips and tricks on kind of how to get value out of just being at the Clean Show. I'm not sure if this is your first one, but that'll probably help you some too. But what I would tell you is I always prioritize things, and I still do to this day. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money we have. We never have unlimited resources unless you're Elon Musk, I guess. But but what I would tell you is just prioritize things. What we've always done in our stores when it comes to whether to buy this or this, and this is our budget, this is how much money we have. We've always focused on the things we have to do. So obviously, if your hot water heater goes out, you have to have hot water, and so you need to replace that or repair it. But that being said, if you have hot water, then you may not need to do anything about that. So I always tried to prioritize things that were what I called customer facing. As long as I have hot water in my store, a customer isn't going to know whether I have a nice hot water heater, a new one, or whatever. Yes, it does affect our expenses because old hot water heaters can be kind of gas hogs, if you will, and things like that. But that doesn't affect the customer. You either have hot water or you don't have hot water. But other things like your machines, maybe your machines work, but they look terrible. Well, replacing machines might be a good option, even though they technically work. Um, do What I always try to focus on too is the facility. Get the facility to a minimum standard that's acceptable to you, and then focus on operations. What can I do operationally? Maybe it's just me spending more time in the store. You don't always have to go buy new machines to improve your business. Maybe it's you can afford a couple gallons of paint and you go in and you paint your store. Maybe you buy that TV. I'm not kidding when I tell you guys this. Back when we were really broke, guys, and trying to fix up our business, I bought TVs at yard sales before, and they worked. And nobody knew that I didn't go buy that at Best Buy. Nobody knew I bought it at a yard sale, but it saved me $200. And back then, $200 was a lot of money, and I was able to use that to buy a couple gallons of paint or something. So I don't know if that makes sense, JD, but it's not really specific to the clean show, but just in general, when you're at the show, you're seeing all these great products and services and things like that. You have to kind of prioritize, what do I have to do and what do I want to do, and what's the priority in there. So I don't know if that makes sense to you. JD, I don't know if you're going to be at the clean show, but if you are, I'd love to meet you, man. I know you're always commenting on stuff, and appreciate you. Yeah, so we're almost out of time, guys. Yeah, you got it for sure. Chris Ward says Chris Money Mihalik is a great human being. He is the reason that you and I met and have been elevating our industry for a long time. That is 100% true. So whether it's when I'm going live at the Prime Capital booth, or if you want to come over and get a free book, Chris is giving away those books. It's incredibly generous of him. No matter what, go over and talk to the people at Prime Capital, talk to Chris Money. He is absolutely a gem in this industry. And if you have never met him or spoken with him, you should do that. You should know who Chris is, for sure. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here for now. I just had a little bit of free time on a Sunday evening. I wanted to jump on here. Once again, you guys are all following me on different social media channels and things like that. So I'm going to be putting my agenda out there. If you're on my email list, you're going to be getting an email in the next couple days that lets you know kind of where me and Carla are going to be at the show. So we will be wandering around at times too. But like I said, we have a crazy schedule. If I'm walking by and you see me, man, shake my hand, give me a hug, take a picture, whatever I can do to help you, I'm happy to do. Just don't be upset if I say, hey, I only got a couple minutes. I actually have to be over there, because that's something me and Carla are trying to kind of balance for the first time. But anyways, listen, guys, this was fun, a lot of fun. I will see you all at the Clean Show. And if I don't, I'll see you at the next event. Take care, guys. Have a good day.